In the beginning of this drama, we see our female lead Yunqing, who is in the hospital delivering her baby. Her condition is critical. Meanwhile, news spreads everywhere that Yunqing was having an affair, and even some of her photos were leaked. Her husband Jiang, the CEO of Jiang Group, also sees this news. At the hospital, Mrs. Lin, who is Jiang's mother and the director of Jiang Group, is shown waiting anxiously. The doctor informs her that Yunqing's condition is very serious and only one, the mother or the child, can be saved. Although the hospital's rule is to prioritize the mother, Mrs. Lin insists on saving the grandchild, even if Yunqing dies. From this, it's clear that Mrs. Lin never liked Yunqing. What happens inside the ICU isn't shown, but outside, Yunqing's stepsister Yunmia, who is a model, is surrounded by reporters asking about Yunqing. She tells them that Yunqing really did have an affair with a foreign billionaire, and even adds that Yunqing is their father's illegitimate daughter. Later, when Yunqing regains consciousness, she asks about her baby. Her friend Zhang tells her that the baby died during delivery. Hearing this, Yunqing completely breaks down. As if that wasn't enough, Jiang calls her and ends their relationship, throwing her out of the Jiang family. Yunqing tries to explain, but Jiang hangs up without listening. 5 years later, the scene shifts. Jiang Group is about to collaborate with Huayan Group. Yunmia has now become the design director of Jiang Group. During the event, Jiang finishes his speech, and the announcement for Huayan Fashion's top model begins. Yunmia is ready to walk toward the stage, expecting her name to be called, but instead, the host announces an international model, Miss Echo. Seeing her, both Yunmia and Jiang are shocked because Miss Echo is none other than Yunqing herself. Jiang gets angry upon seeing her, but Yunqing has returned only to take her revenge. After the event, Yunqing comes out with Zhang, and we learn that together they founded a company called Xinjiang, which is now one of the top fashion companies in the world. Just then, Yunmia storms in angrily and slaps Yunqing, shouting, "How dare you come back?" But Yunqing slaps her back even harder. Yunmia screams that Yunqing left their sick father alone and now even stole her modeling endorsement. Hearing this, Zhang says, "Stop your drama. You're just like your mother, stealing other people's husbands." Yunmia tries to slap him too, but Jiang stops her and quietly tells her to leave. Jiang can only stare silently at Yunqing, while Yunqing says coldly, "This is just the beginning. My revenge has only started." Yunqing says firmly, "I'll take back everything I lost 5 years ago," and walks away. In the next scene, she steps out of her car when suddenly a little boy jumps out from the back seat and starts calling her mom. Yunqing is stunned and looks around in confusion. Soon, we learn that the boy's name is On, and at the same time, Jiang is searching for him at home. An had run away from the house, and Jiang angrily scolds his assistant for failing to watch over a 5-year-old child. He even orders all the housekeepers to be replaced. However, On's watch has a tracker, and Zhang is able to trace his location. He immediately sets out to find him. Meanwhile, Yunqing talks to On, asking his name and about his parents. On innocently replies, "You are my mom." Yunqing smiles and tells him kids shouldn't lie. Hearing this, On looks sad and says, "No one likes me. Dad is always busy with work, and now even mom doesn't love me anymore." Feeling emotional, Yunqing comforts him gently, and soon On starts smiling again. Seeing him, Yunqing can't help but think of her own lost child. If he were alive, he'd be about the same age as On. Just then, Jiang arrives. Both of them are shocked to see each other. Yunqing asks, "What are you doing here?" Jiang replies coldly, "You already know," and tries to take On's hand. But Yunqing quickly stops him and demands, "What's your relationship with this child?" Jiang snaps back, "It has nothing to do with you. Move away before things get ugly." But then On yells, "Dad, don't trouble mom." Hearing this, Yunqing is completely shocked. Jiang orders his assistant to take On back to the car. Then Jiang turns to Yunqing and says, "What lies did you tell my son that he's calling you her mom?" Stunned, Yunqing asks, "What do you mean?" "On is your son." Jiang glares at her and says, "Did you forget? He's our son." Yunqing freezes and says in disbelief, "That's impossible." Jiang sneers, "You're right, it's impossible for someone like you. A shameless woman like you could never be On's mother." He warns her, "Don't you dare come near my son again, or you'll regret it." Later, we find out that Zhang's company is struggling because all the top designers have left. To fix this, he's desperate to hire Nian, a very famous designer, and asks his assistant to arrange a meeting with her. Meanwhile, Yunqing also learns that Jiang is trying to hire Nian, and she smiles, saying that tomorrow she's going to give Jiang a huge shock. The next day, Yunqing arrives at Nian's office, where Jiang is already waiting to meet her. When Jiang sees Yunqing there, he gets furious and mocks her, shouting that a famous designer like Nian would never collaborate with her. But Yunqing shocks him completely, because Nian is none other than herself. Jiang stands frozen in disbelief. Just then, an employee comes in and respectfully addresses her as Miss Nian, which forces him to believe it's true. Furious and embarrassed, Jiang turns to leave, but Yunqing stops him. She calmly tells him about the poor state of his company and warns that if Nian refuses to collaborate, his company will soon go bankrupt. Jiang replies coldly, "Let's not mix personal matters with business. Tell me, what do you want in return for joining my company?" Yunqing answers firmly, "A legal divorce." It turns out they were never officially divorced. However, Jiang immediately refuses, because if he agrees, Yunqing will be entitled to part of his property as alimony, something he can't tolerate. So he storms off angrily. In the next scene, we see Jiang's house, where his assistant brings 3 nannies to take care of On. One of them is Yunqing herself. A flashback shows that Yunqing had secretly entered Jiang's house earlier to find her stolen designs, the same ones Yunmia had taken and submitted to Jiang's company, earning fame and becoming the design director. Yunqing wants to retrieve the original copies so she can claim copyright ownership and ruin Jiang's company's reputation because he had abandoned her when she needed him the most. She also wants to uncover who the new woman in Jiang's life is. For this, she uses an expensive gadget called the Biankai device, a butterfly-shaped brooch that hides her real face from people, but still appears clearly on cameras. So, she must stay away from any surveillance while using it. Back in the present, Jiang fails to recognize her. He begins interviewing the 3 nannies, asking how they'd take care of On. After hearing the other 2, he rejects them instantly. Then it's Yunqing's turn, she says softly, "I'll take care of him like my own child." Jiang looks at her and asks, "Do you have a child of your own?" She replies no. He then says coldly, "Then how can you say you'll care for him like your own when you've never experienced it?" and rejects her too. But suddenly, On runs to Yunqing, hugging her legs and shouting, "Mom." The assistant tries to pull him away, but Jiang steps closer to Yunqing and asks for her name. Nervous, she hesitates. Jiang smirks and says, "From now on, I'll call you Mitty, because your face looks so chubby." Jiang asks for a dress to wear at home, which looked somewhat like a waitress uniform. His assistant starts showing her around the house, but stops her from entering the room near the study, which has been locked for a long time. Yunqing begins her search, but doesn't find any women's clothes there, leaving her wondering who the other woman in Jiang's life could be. The next morning, Yunqing brings honey water to Jiang, but she sees him murmuring in his sleep, refusing to let someone leave. She wakes him up, and Jiang hugs her instinctively. To free himself, Yunqing pulls him and slaps him lightly. Surprised, Jiang sits up and Yunqing jokes that he's a light sleeper. She just set down the cup, and he woke up at the sound. Jiang believes her and tells her to leave. Later, Yunqing prepares Jiang's shirt as he has a shareholder meeting at the company. She notices his locker and recalls that Jiang keeps all important files there. While looking, she slips and falls, but Jiang holds her steady before leaving for the office. Yunqing starts thinking about how to open the locker and checks other parts of the house as well, unaware that Jiang installed secret cameras throughout the home. When he checks the footage, he sees Yunqing's face and is shocked, but lets her continue, curious about her intentions in his house. After finishing his meeting, Jiang returns home and asks Yunqing to massage his head. Yunqing presses his forehead with her finger as instructed. Jiang tells her to massage slowly, but seeing her work gently, he asks her to apply more pressure. She presses harder, causing him to jump up, exclaiming, "Are you trying to hurt me?" and storms off. Yunqing begins cleaning the house and encounters Yunmia. Seeing her, she tries to leave, but On runs to her, calling Mom. Yunmia starts verbally attacking Yunqing, but Yunqing calmly instructs her to control her language. Angered, Yunmia attempts to slap her, but Jiang arrives. Seeing him, Yunmia's attitude changes, and she begins speaking lovingly to him, though he pays no attention. Yunmia then tries to trap him by wrapping her legs around his, intending to fall on her. Jiang falls, but instead of landing on Yunmia, he accidentally falls right on top of Yunqing. Both end up extremely close, their faces just inches apart. Yunmia tries to get up to help, but twists her ankle and also falls on them. Because of the push, Jiang and Yunqing accidentally kiss, shocking everyone around. After standing up, Yunqing angrily slaps Jiang across the face, and surprisingly, Jiang says nothing in return. After Yunqing leaves, Jiang tells Yunmia to prepare her makeup using Huayan Cosmetics, since they were going to attend Huayan's brand event that evening. He instructs her to speak positively about their products in front of Mrs. Sua, the company CEO, so she could win her favor. However, Yunmia refuses, saying that Huayan's cosmetics are of poor quality and could damage her skin. Jiang sternly reminds her that if she truly wants that endorsement, she must wear their products to the event. That evening, Yunmia starts flattering Mrs. Hua, trying to replace Yunqing, also known in the industry as Echo, as the company's model. But Mrs. Hua doesn't pay much attention to her. As soon as Echo, Yunqing, arrives, Mrs. Hua warmly greets her, which makes Yunmia furious. Out of jealousy, she begins mocking Yunqing's clothes, but Yunqing and Mrs. Hua both ignore her. Feeling humiliated, Yunmia loses her temper and starts yelling, accusing Yunqing of stealing her endorsement deal. Everyone at the party turns to watch the scene. Just then, a voice recording begins playing. It's Yunmia bad-mouthing Huayan's cosmetics earlier. Yunqing had secretly recorded it. Hearing this, Mrs. Sua announces that she will never collaborate with Yunmia again and immediately names Yunqing as Huayan's new brand ambassador. Enraged, Yunmia swings her hand, slapping Yunqing with a ring on her finger, cutting Yunqing's neck. Jiang rushes to stop her, but Yunmia pretends to be the victim. Jiang doesn't fall for her act and instead follows Yunqing as she walks away, clearly concerned about her injury. Later, Yunqing disguises herself again as the nanny and starts wondering if Jiang truly cared for her. After all, he came after her. Just then, she notices her bionic eye device isn't responding properly. When she steps outside her apartment, she sees Jiang standing there, delivering bandage for her. He leaves without saying a word. Seeing this, Yunqing's heart softens for a moment as she thinks about him again. Afterward, she messages the creator of her bionic eye and gets it repaired. Once it's fixed, she returns to Jiang's house. When Jiang comes home, Yunqing tries to avoid him, but he stops her and asks her to look at him while talking. He had noticed the wound on her neck. He tells her gently that a bandage alone won't help. Jiang tells Yunqing that the wound on her neck needs proper dressing, so he brings out his first aid box and gently tends to her injury. During this, the two come close again, and at that very moment, Yunmia sees them together. She had come there intending to spend the night with Jiang so that if she got pregnant, he would be forced to marry her. Meanwhile, Yunqing asks her friend to find out about On, but just then, she sees Yunmia secretly mixing something into the juice. Jiang, who is watching everything through the CCTV cameras, also witnesses this. After Yunmia leaves, Yunqing pours the juice into another glass and mixes sleeping powder in it. Then she puts Yunmia's original glass back in the fridge. Later, Yunmia comes and takes both glasses to Jiang, pretending they are normal. Jiang, already suspicious, doesn't drink, but Yunmia does and soon falls asleep. Jiang, who had already drunk quite a bit, steps outside and seeing Yunqing, starts questioning why she came back. He vents all his anger from 5 years ago on her. Yunqing is shocked, wondering how Jiang recognized her despite her wearing the disguise brooch. Suddenly, Jiang apologizes, saying he mistook her for his ex-wife. He then brings 2 glasses of juice from the fridge, the same ones Yunmia had prepared. They both drink, but soon start feeling unusually hot. When Yunqing asks where he got the juice from, Jiang replies, "From the fridge," and Yunqing instantly realizes it's the drugged one. Under the influence, Jiang becomes uncontrollably passionate and keeps staring at her. Yunqing runs to the bathroom, but Jiang follows and forcefully kisses her. She tries to bring him back to his senses by turning on the shower, but it doesn't help. Their emotions overflow, and the night turns intimate. The next morning, Yunqing wakes up beside Jiang. She finds his old phone there, unlocks it using his Face ID, and transfers all the password-protected files into her own phone. She sends them to her hacker friend to decode and quietly leaves. But Jiang had only been pretending to sleep. He opens his eyes and mutters to himself, wondering how long she'll keep pretending. Later, Yunqing, under her designer name Nian, calls Jiang to discuss their cooperation. Jiang visits her office, agrees to all her conditions, though she doesn't mention divorce this time. But while signing the contract, Jiang grows jealous seeing her closeness with her male friend and interrupts them, using a spelling mistake as an excuse to make her come with him to his home so they can redo the contract. Yunqing's friend stops her from going with Jiang, which makes Jiang jealous again, and he leaves angrily. Her friend then asks her, "Why didn't you ask him for a divorce?" Yunqing replies that she wants to keep business and personal matters separate. Her friend says, "Maybe you're thinking too much about him, but don't forget your revenge." To this, Yunqing says, "I haven't forgotten my revenge. I'm only cooperating with the Jiang group so that I can take his company from him." Then her friend tells her about An, saying that Jiang had adopted him because An's parents died in an accident. Meanwhile, Jiang orders his assistant to investigate the viral photos from 5 years ago of Yunqing with a foreign billionaire. At the same time, Yunqing's friend decrypts Jiang's password-protected files and finds messages between Jiang and another woman. From these chats, Yunqing learns that Jiang married her only because of the baby, and after the baby was born, he threw her out of the house and planned to marry that other woman instead. She even finds a photo of Jiang with that woman, which shocks her deeply. Now that Yunqing knows the truth about how cruel Jiang really is, she decides to destroy him completely. She disguises herself as a nanny again and sneaks into Jiang's room, where she opens his locker. Its password was the 20th, the day they got married, and also the same day she had their baby, who later died. On that same day, Jiang had thrown her out of the house. Inside the locker, she finds her original design files. Just as she's about to leave, Jiang arrives. She quickly closes the cupboard, but her dress gets stuck. Meanwhile, Jiang's assistant informs him that An wants to invite Yunqing to his birthday and won't celebrate unless she comes. Then Jiang notices her dress stuck in the cupboard and realizes she's hiding inside. He loudly says that he'll definitely invite Yunqing to the birthday and that she'll surely come, then leaves. Yunqing decides to use this opportunity to learn more about An and goes to the birthday party in the evening. She gives An a gift, which he happily accepts, but refuses the one given by Yunmia. This makes the mother-in-law furious, and she tells Yunqing to leave. But Jiang stops her and says, "Yunqing is An's guest, she'll stay." Then An insists that he'll cut the cake with his mom and dad, Yunqing and Jiang. Hearing this, both the mother-in-law and Yunmia get angry, but they have no choice but to agree. Seeing Yunqing and Jiang together makes Yunmia furious. In her rage, she throws a glass of water at Yunqing and yells, "You're trying to steal my Jiang." But Jiang scolds Yunmia for her behavior. Jiang apologizes to Yunqing on behalf of Yunmia and then tells her to go inside and change clothes. But Jiang's mother says, "There are no women's clothes here." At that moment, An says, "There are clothes here for my mom." Saying this, An takes her to the room near the study, the same one Jiang's assistant had warned her not to enter. But An insists, "Please go inside, you'll find clothes there." As soon as Yunqing enters the room, she finds all of Jiang's and her old clothes from 5 years ago still there. There were even baby clothes they had bought together. She also finds their engagement ring, which surprises her. Jiang had kept all these things safe till now. Then she notices her wedding dress, and while she's changing into it, Jiang walks in. Seeing her changing, he quickly turns around and asks, "Why did you come into this room?" Before she can answer, someone starts coming toward the room, so Jiang quickly hides her. It turns out to be his assistant, who had come looking for An. After the assistant leaves, Yunqing asks Jiang, "Did you really adopt An? If yes, then I want to see his adoption certificate." But Jiang refuses, saying, "That's none of your business." Yunqing replies, "It is my business, because On calls me mom." To this, Jiang smirks and says, "On even calls his nanny mom, so should I show her the adoption certificate too?" Hearing this, Yunqing gets angry and tells him to leave. Afterward, she walks out wearing her wedding dress, which shocks Zhang's mother and Yunmia. On, however, insists that Yunqing should stay with them, which makes Yunmia and her mother furious, and they storm off. Later that night, Yunqing and Jiang celebrate On's birthday together, dancing and enjoying themselves. When it's bedtime, On refuses to sleep alone and says he wants to sleep with his mom and dad. So Jiang requests Yunqing to stay for his sake, and she agrees. While sleeping, On holds both their hands together and slowly falls asleep. The next morning, when Jiang wakes up, Yunqing is already gone. Then, his assistant arrives and tells him, the photos of Yunqing and that foreign billionaire from 5 years ago were all edited. None of it was real. Hearing this, Jiang feels extremely guilty, realizing he had misunderstood her all this time even though she was innocent. The assistant advises, "Sir, you should clear this misunderstanding with her." But Jiang says, "It's not that simple. She won't forgive me easily. I'll have to get closer to her slowly." He then asks about her whereabouts, and the assistant informs him she's gone for a photo shoot with a male model. Hearing that, Jiang becomes jealous and immediately heads to the photo shoot. When he arrives, he sees Yunqing posing very closely with the male model, which infuriates him. So he starts criticizing the model, saying, "You're not posing properly." Then, Jiang himself steps into pose with Yunqing for the shoot. During the shoot, Jiang suddenly pulls Yunqing close and kisses her, which shocks everyone. The male model gets furious and says, "You're behaving inappropriately with Yunqing. I'll report this to the company CEO, Mr. Jiang." But when he learns that the man who kissed her is actually the CEO Jiang himself, he immediately starts flattering him, though Jiang angrily tells him to get lost. Just then, one of the crew members intentionally drops the stage lights toward Yunqing, but Jiang rushes in and saves her. However, his hand gets badly injured in the process. Yunqing immediately takes him to the hospital. She tells his assistant to take care of him, but the assistant says, "Boss got hurt because of you, so you should be the one to look after him. I have important work at the office," and then leaves. After that, Jiang starts pretending that his hand hurts a lot, groaning in pain to get her attention. Seeing that, Yunqing says she'll call the doctor, but Jiang stops her and teasingly asks, "Are you worried about me?" Yunqing bluntly replies, "No, I don't have time to waste on you," and walks away. But a little while later, she returns disguised as a maid, which makes Jiang secretly happy. He then invites her to lunch with him. Yunqing tells him that On came along too, so the three of them go for lunch together. There, Jiang continues his little act, pretending he can't eat properly with one hand. He exaggerates so much just to catch Yunqing's attention, but she doesn't even look at him. Finally, Jiang asks her to feed him, so she cuts the food into big pieces and feeds him roughly. Watching him struggle to chew, On laughs joyfully at his father's misery. Later, Jiang is working on his laptop. Yunqing brings him some water and is about to leave when Jiang stops her, saying, "I can't type with one hand. Help me." So the two sit together and start working side by side. At that moment, Zhang's mother arrives and sees them together. She gets furious and yells, "What are you doing with this maid here?" She drags Jiang outside and tells him to fire the maid, saying she'll make Yunmia take care of him instead. Then she scolds him for getting hurt while saving Yunqing, but Jiang finally snaps and says, "I know it was you who arranged that attack on Yunqing." Hearing this, his mother defends herself, saying, "I did it for your own good. Even after 5 years, that woman still clings to you." Here, it's revealed that Jiang truly loved Yunqing, and 5 years ago, he had gone against his mother's wishes to marry her. His mother could never accept the marriage because Yunqing was the illegitimate daughter of Zhang's father, which made her despise Yunqing even more. But Jiang firmly warns her, saying, "Yunqing is still my wife. What happens between us is my decision. Stay away from her. And if you ever try to hurt her again, I'll forget that you're my mother." After saying this, he walks away in anger. In the next scene, Jiang urgently needs to pee, but since his injured hand makes it impossible to unzip his pants, he calls Yunqing for help. Yunqing stands there completely embarrassed. Then we find out that Jiang is about to undergo surgery, which worries his mother. The doctor came out and told them that Zhang's surgery had been successful, but since he was still unconscious, they could meet him after some time. Yunqing, who had been secretly listening nearby, became very happy after hearing that Jiang was safe. But while leaving, she accidentally bumped into a nurse, causing her brooch to fall and break again. Just then, the doctor arrived and recognized her as Zhang's wife. He told her that On looked exactly like her. His eyes, eyebrows, everything was the same. He then added that since Jiang had been admitted to the hospital, she hadn't come to visit him even once. "Are you really that busy with work?" he asked. Yunqing replied, "It's nothing like that," and began thinking, could On really be her and Zhang's son? Later, she went to Jiang to thank him for saving her. When she checked his phone again, she found all their old photos from 5 years ago, and this time, also saw chat messages with that same girl. But these chats were different from the old ones. Here, the girl was trying to seduce Jiang, while Jiang firmly rejected her, saying that his wife Yunqing was everything to him. Seeing this, Yunqing felt both happy and confused. Were the old chats real or fake? To find out, she met her friend, who checked the folder. But when he tried to open it again, his laptop suddenly got a virus. They immediately realized that someone had done this intentionally, meaning those old chats were fake, and someone had been secretly watching their every move. After that, Yunqing contacted the owner of the brooch, who went by the name Mama's Boy. He asked her to meet at a certain place to give her a new brooch, but he didn't show up in person. Then it was revealed that Mama's Boy was actually On himself. It was also discovered that the brooch had been made by one of Zhang's subsidiary companies. Just then, Jiang arrived and caught On red-handed. It turned out that Jiang had given that brooch to On for testing purposes, but On had sold it to his mother, Yunqing, so he could bring her back home. Jiang then told On to keep this a secret. Later, Jiang came home wearing special glasses that allowed him to see a person's real face even when they wore the brooch. As soon as he entered, he started staring at Yunqing while she was thinking about collecting his hair samples for a DNA test. When she turned around, Jiang said, "I don't think this dress suits you. Let's go get another one." While shopping, Yunqing sends the DNA samples for testing, and later her friend calls to inform her that On and Zhang's DNA have matched, which means On is truly Zhang's son. However, the report matching On and Yunqing's DNA hasn't come yet. Yunqing's friend also finds some evidence, old files from 5 years ago, that can be used against Zhang's company. He gives them to her and says, "Now it's your turn for revenge." The next day, there's a shareholders meeting at Zhang's office, where everyone demands that Jiang Fashion's design department be shut down, since it has been in loss for the past 2 years. But Jiang refuses because this brand was his and Yunqing's dream project. The shareholders say that Nian hasn't yet signed her contract as a designer, and even Zhang's mother supports their decision. Just as they're about to announce the department's closure, Yunqing enters the meeting as Nian, shocking everyone. No one believes that Yunqing is the famous designer Nian until Jiang presents her credentials and proof. After signing the final contract, Yunqing promises everyone that this year's best and most trending designs will come from Jiang Fashion. Hearing this, Jiang feels truly happy. Later, Jiang goes to Yunqing and tells her that now both of them will take Jiang Fashion to the heights they once dreamed of. But his mother becomes furious again, as Jiang is once more getting close to Yunqing and ignoring her words. She tells Yunmia to keep an eye on Yunqing so that she doesn't take advantage of Jiang, and even orders her to move into Zhang's house. The next day, Yunmia arrives with her bags to stay at Zhang's home. When Jiang asks why she's here, she says her mother sent her to look after him. At that moment, Yunqing brings food for Jiang. Jiang invites her to sit and eat with them, but Yunmia yells at her not to. Then Jiang says, "You're right, Yunmia, she shouldn't sit that far, but near me." He pulls out the chair beside him for Yunqing and brings her closer, even serving her food himself, clearly to tease Yunmia. Angry, Yunmia tells Jiang to fire Yunqing, claiming that she knows nothing about design and must have stolen someone's work to pose as Nian. But Jiang firmly replies that if she doesn't agree with his decision, she can resign from her position as design director. Hearing that, Madame Yunmia goes silent. In the next scene, Yunqing is fixing Zhang's bed when Jiang walks in wearing only a bathrobe. Embarrassed, she closes her eyes and tries to leave, but Jiang grabs her hand, causing her to fall over him. The two stare into each other's eyes, when suddenly they hear Yunmia's voice approaching, coming straight toward the room. Jiang quickly hides Yunqing under the blanket, just as Yunmia walks into the room. She had come there to seduce Jiang, pretending it was just about work. She shows him her new dress and asks him to check its quality. But Jiang coldly replies, the quality is terrible, and bluntly tells her to leave. After she's gone, Yunqing, still hiding under the blanket, says she wants to come out, but Jiang tells her to wait for a while and steps out to check on Yunmia. When he leaves, Yunqing comes out of hiding and notices Jiang's special glasses lying on the bed. She wonders why he's suddenly been wearing glasses these past few days. Out of curiosity, she puts them on and to her shock, she sees her real face in the mirror, even though she's still wearing the brooch disguise. That's when she realizes Jiang already knew all along that she was Yunqing. The next morning, she storms into his room and slaps him hard across the face. Jiang, completely stunned, touches his cheek and asks in shock, "What happened? Why did you hit me?" Yunqing glares at him and says angrily, "Because you touched me again and did something I can't even say out loud." Saying that, she runs out of the room. After that, Jiang takes Yunqing, disguised as a model, to the company because he had called Nian to show her some of his new designs. But since Yunqing was Nian, she couldn't appear twice, so her friend shows up instead. Jiang asks her friend about Nian, and the friend says, "Nian and I are childhood friends and business partners. Whether she comes or I do, it's the same thing." A little later, Jiang's mother and Yunmia also arrive, since they belong to the design department. Both of them start indirectly criticizing Yunqing. To make a point, Jiang makes Yunqing wear one of the dresses he designed, a dress he had originally made for his ex-wife, but never got the chance to give her. Everyone praises the dress, and Jiang asks Yunqing for her opinion too. But she gives him an honest one. "This dress isn't perfect at all," she says, pointing out several design flaws. Yunmia gets furious at her words and raises her hand to slap Yunqing, but in the chaos, she accidentally pushes Jiang, and his special glasses fall and break. Frustrated, Jiang postpones the meeting and leaves. After he's gone, Yunmia turns to Jiang's mother and says, "Jiang isn't getting seduced by me at all." Jiang's mother replies with a sly idea, "Your father has returned from abroad. You know Yunqing respects him a lot. So if he tells her to stay away from Jiang, she'll have no choice but to listen. And right at that moment, you'll enter with Jiang and tell your father you want to marry him. That way, Yunqing will be out of the picture forever." Meanwhile, Jiang is trying to fix his broken glasses. When Yunqing finishes her work and is about to leave, Jiang stops her and says gently, "You can remove your brooch now, because I already know you." Jiang sincerely apologizes to Yunqing and confesses, "I still love you just as much as I did 5 years ago." But Yunqing is still angry. She says, "I know your feelings haven't changed, and maybe everything between us can still be fixed, but first, I need to know the whole truth. Who set me up 5 years ago?" Jiang promises her that he will help her uncover the truth. Later, Yunqing goes to meet her father. As expected, he advises her, "You should leave Jiang and choose someone else, because your divorce is already finalized, and Yunmia likes him now." At that moment, Yunmia arrives with Jiang. Just as planned, she tells Yunqing's father, "I love Jiang." Her father turns to Yunqing once again and says, "For your sister's happiness, you must let Jiang go." Yunqing is speechless, but Jiang immediately interjects, "I don't like Yunmia, and my divorce with Yunqing isn't finalized. If you are going to force her away, that's not happening." Yunqing finally finds her voice. She turns to her father, gives her final ta-ta, goodbye, and walks away with Jiang. 5 years ago, her father had abandoned her mother for another woman, Yunmia's mother, so this was poetic justice. Slowly, the world between Yunqing and Jiang starts rebuilding. Back at Jiang Fashion, Yunqing creates a new design. Everyone loves it, and they finally get production approval. The employees congratulate her, and Jiang himself comes over to congratulate her personally. He invites her to meet at a restaurant at 5 p.m. Excited, Yunqing starts choosing her dress. Just as she's ready to leave, she suddenly feels nauseous. Meanwhile, Jiang is already at the restaurant, waiting for her. Yunqing takes a pregnancy test and discovers she is pregnant. Her friend calls to remind her about her responsibilities, so she heads to meet Jiang. Jiang recalls their old dating memories, trying to talk to her, but Yunqing is lost in her own thoughts. Suddenly, she receives a call. Her father has passed away. She rushes to see him. At the same time, Jiang receives a call from his mother, who fakes an illness to get him home. Meanwhile, Yunqing's father's house is already swarming with media, all there to humiliate her. Clearly, Jiang's mother and Yunmia had arranged this. But Jiang arrives just in time. He shuts the media down, knowing exactly what his mother was trying to do. The media, desperate for breaking news, watches as Jiang kisses Yunqing right in front of them, silencing all their questions. Pointing at his mother, Jiang says firmly, "Anyone behind this, he will see to it." After everything, Jiang takes Yunqing home. They are just about to clear their misunderstanding when Yunqing receives the DNA report. It reveals that Jiang is indeed On's father, but Yunqing is not his biological mother. Shocked and furious, she calls Jiang deceitful and a liar, and storms out. Jiang can only watch, confused, unable to understand what just happened. The next day, Yunqing is at a photo shoot. Media had already arrived because of some previous incident, creating chaos. At that moment, On shows up with the brooch. Yunqing uses it to leave the scene safely. She tells him, "Even if I'm not your biological mother, I will always consider you my son." Meanwhile, Jiang discovers the truth about Yunmia. She had stolen Yunqing's designs, claimed them as her own, and submitted them to Jiang's company. Jiang's assistant gives him an invitation to a party, expecting a billionaire guest, the same one used in the fake news about Yunqing's supposed affair. At the party, Jiang realizes that the billionaire was actually Yunqing's uncle. Everyone is shocked. At this point, Yunqing's uncle recounts all her struggles over the past 5 years to become a designer like Nian, exposing Yunmia and Jiang's past mistakes. Jiang publicly admits his errors in front of everyone, fires Yunmia from the company, and even Jiang's mother refuses to support Yunmia this time. Enraged, Yunmia tries to attack Yunqing with a bottle, but Jiang shields her. Security intervenes and removes Yunmia. Yunqing leaves with her uncle. Soon, Yunmia receives a message from a stranger revealing that On is actually Yunqing's son. Enraged, she kidnaps On and calls Jiang and Yunqing, demanding they meet her alone. She threatens them to sign divorce papers and transfer all copyright of Yunqing's designs to her. Yunmia holds a knife to On's neck, forcing them to comply. But she knows deep down that Jiang could never belong to her. In the struggle, she accidentally hurts On with the knife. Jiang and Yunqing rush him to the hospital. The doctors reveal that On has lost a lot of blood and needs a rare P blood group transfusion. Fortunately, Yunqing has the same blood group. She donates her blood, saving On's life. Relieved, Jiang tells Yunqing the truth. On is indeed their son. They also realize that they were fed separate lies. Jiang was told that Yunqing cheated on him and left the baby, while Yunqing was told that Jiang cheated and the baby had died. Both are shocked, but finally, their misunderstanding is cleared, and they're happy. Yunqing then shares another piece of good news. Their second baby is on the way. Hearing this, Jiang is overjoyed. Yunqing also explains what had happened to their first child, bringing even more closure and happiness. After everything, Yunqing and Jiang go to meet Zhang, who had fainted. Once he regains consciousness, he explains that Shang's mom's assistant had come with some men and caused destruction. Zhang reveals that he already knew who was behind everything 5 years ago. All the evidence was on a pen drive, which he gives them. It contains voice recordings of Zhang's mother from 5 years ago, where she instructed to spread fake news about Yunqing's affair, and even to swap her baby with a deceased child. Hearing this, Jiang promises Yunqing that he will not leave the culprits unpunished. The beginning of justice starts with Yunmia's arrest, and Jiang removes his mother from the board of directors, warning her that this is her last chance. If she ever tries to hurt Yunqing again, there will be serious consequences. After this, Yunqing takes Jiang to meet her uncle, aiming to fix their family relation. To impress her uncle, they bring gifts and even On, but her uncle is still angry at Jiang and refuses to forgive him. He suggests that Yunqing should divorce Jiang and choose a better life partner. Yunqing reveals that she is expecting their second baby, which enrages her uncle even more. He then asks Zhang to propose to Yunqing on Zhang's behalf, claiming he will take care of both her children like his own. Yunqing clarifies that she only sees him as a good friend. Zhang apologizes to Yunqing, promising never to leave her side. To prove his honesty, he decides to transfer his company entirely into Yunqing's name, which impresses her. Her uncle leaves silently, and Yunqing and Jiang are finally together, though Zhang's heart is broken. Next, the uncle calls Jiang secretly through Zhang to test him and gauge his honesty. Zhang's commitment impresses the uncle, as he has already started the process of transferring the company to Yunqing's name. At this point, it is revealed that the person who had come posing as Zhang to meet the uncle was actually the real Zhang, who had planted the brooch. Angry that the uncle supported Jiang instead of him, he disguised himself as a maid at the uncle's house and poisoned the tea to make Yunqing doubt Jiang. However, Yunqing trusts Jiang, knowing he could never betray her. The assistant reveals that the real maid was on leave that day, confirming that the person was indeed Zhang. Yunqing goes to confront him, and Zhang admits all his crimes from the baby swap Tuan's kidnapping. He confesses that he was trying to destroy Zhang's family because his father had died due to Zhang's father. Yunqing is terrified but does not run. Zhang knocks her unconscious and takes her to the uncle's house, attempting to show Zhang's death via CCTV cameras. Disguised as the uncle, Zhang brings tea poisoned with the brooch's trap. Jiang is about to drink it, but On gives him the special glasses that reveal Zhang's true identity despite the brooch. Jiang throws the tea at Zhang and ties him up, then rescues Yunqing. Zhang asks Jiang how he figured it out. On explains that he recognized Zhang's smell. Zhang then tells Jiang about his father's death. Jiang clarified that Zhang's father had committed suicide after a stock market scam, for which Zhang's father wasn't really at fault. With Zhang arrested, the family finally finds peace. On is safe, Yunqing and Jiang are together, and their happy family life begins. This marks the happy ending of the story.